Okay, so you sit down to do something. Read, work, think, doesn't matter what. And within maybe 2 minutes, sometimes less, something feels off. Not that you're distracted by your phone necessarily, just that the thing in front of you feels heavier than it should. Slower, less interesting than you know it actually is. Like your brain showed up but didn't fully arrive. I've been trying to understand that feeling for a long time, and what I've found is that it's not about the task, it's not about motivation either. It's about something that's been quietly shifting in the background for most of us for years, and once you see what it actually is, a lot of other things start making sense. Here's what I want to start with. Your brain has a baseline, not a fixed one, a learned one. It's the brain's running assumption about what stimulation is supposed to feel like, how fast things should move, how much should be happening at once, how quickly a reward should arrive. And that baseline isn't set once and forgotten. It updates. Every time your attention spends time in a fast, dynamic, constantly shifting environment, your brain takes notes. Not consciously, not deliberately, but it updates what it considers normal. And here's where it gets uncomfortable. Most of us have been spending hours every day in one of the most stimulation-dense environments ever designed. Not for months, for years. So the baseline shifted, quietly, gradually, without anyone pointing at it. Now here's the part that took me a while to really understand. This isn't just about phones. It's about what happens to everything else after the baseline moves. Because your brain doesn't evaluate things in isolation, it compares. Reading a book doesn't feel slow because books are slow. It feels slow relative to what your brain now expects attention to feel like. Working on something difficult doesn't feel hard because you became less capable. It feels hard relative to a nervous system that has been recalibrated toward instant feedback. Think about that for a second. The task didn't change. Your brain's reference point did. That distinction matters more than almost anything else I could say in this video. Because if you think the task got harder, you blame the task or yourself. But if you understand that the reference point shifted, suddenly it's not about willpower at all. It's about calibration. And here's the thing about calibration. It works in both directions. The same way your brain adjusted toward constant stimulation, it can adjust away from it. Not by force, not by willpower, not by deleting your apps, but by changing what it's regularly exposed to. Because your nervous system is always learning, it's always updating the baseline. The question just is, what are you feeding it? When you regularly spend time in slower, quieter, less immediately rewarding environments, your brain starts to update again. It starts to remember that attention can stay, that depth is possible, that something doesn't have to be instantly stimulating to be worth being present for. That shift doesn't happen overnight, but it happens faster than most people expect because the brain is plastic. It learned this, it can unlearn it. There's something else here that I think is worth saying directly. The sensitivity itself, the part of you that responds strongly to stimulation, that gets pulled easily, that notices every shift, that's not the problem. That same sensitivity is what makes certain experiences feel alive. It's what makes you notice things others miss. It's what lets you become deeply absorbed in something when the conditions are right. The problem isn't the sensitivity. The problem is that the environment has been using it against you, constantly, quietly, effectively, and most of us never stopped to name that. We just assumed something was wrong with us, but nothing is wrong with you. Your brain is doing exactly what brains do. It learned from its environment, and it can learn something different. So, what actually changes this? Not a system, you know that by now. The thing that actually moves the needle is simpler and less satisfying than people want it to be. It's regular exposure to slowness, not as punishment, not as discipline, not as a detox, just as input. Sitting with something that doesn't immediately reward you, letting your attention stay somewhere without it needing to be exciting, giving your nervous system time in a quieter environment, consistently, not dramatically. Over time, the baseline adjusts. Reading starts to feel less slow.
Deep work starts to feel less like pushing a boulder. Your own thoughts start to feel less like a place you need to escape from. Not because you fixed something broken, but because you gave your brain different information about what normal feels like. There's nothing wrong with you for arriving here. Given the environment, given the years of it, given the way this was all designed, this is exactly what was supposed to happen. But you're noticing it, and that noticing is already a different kind of input. There's one more layer to this that I haven't touched yet. It's about what happens inside the moments when your attention does drift. Not just that it drifts, but the specific pattern it follows when it does. That pattern shows up everywhere once you see it, not just on your phone, in how you think, how you plan, how you react to things that don't go the way you expected. That's the next one.